AP Harris Writing says, showering every time I get stuck. I would be showering way too often. Hey guys, I'm Kate. Welcome back to my channel. And about a month ago, I asked you guys over on Instagram what your weirdest writing habits were. Something I've noticed in all of the various writing routines I do, whether that is famous authors or trying to write like my friends, is that we all have one or two little things that are just a little bit different. And y'all freaking delivered. So I figured now was the time to go through and just sort of react to some of these. I also want to in the future attempt some of these weird writing habits, so let's do this. Starting off strong, and by that I mean I have a lot of follow-up questions. We have O. Monroe writes with, my nail color dictates the tone of my writing sometimes. Now, is this like you're inspired by? Like if you're wearing black polish, you're feeling a little bit more gothic perhaps? Red, maybe there's like a sex scene happening? Or is it like, I know what I'm writing, so this is like my battle armor. Like I'm going into this scene with these nails on to channel this energy. Is it a chicken and egg thing? Like, let me know. I'm curious. As someone who, though you cannot tell it as I have no polish on, loves nail polish, I like the idea of this. Lindsay says that she has to have her creativity crystal on her desk and rosemary oil to sniff. I want to get a rosemary plant, so I don't know that that's quite the same. Creativity crystal. What kind of crystal is that? I have questions. Lindsay, will you do a crystal tour like you've done a plant tour sort of thing? Okay. Laura in red says, I consistently write 1,000 more words if I have bubble tea than if I don't. Bubble tea is now a must. As a fellow bubble tea aficionado, lover, I don't know that I've noticed any difference in my writing. However, I would be willing to try. My bet is that depending on what bubble tea you get, there's lots of sugar and or caffeine in it. But either way, I'm here for the magic. We have a couple people who have to tidy up before they can start writing. I don't do it every writing session. I will show y'all the current film setup that I was just writing out before. Yes, hello self. Water, hair tie, hodgepodge of stuff. Save the Cat Writes a Novel. My adorable little socks that my parents got me that say precious cargo. Not very tidy, but like not the worst. But I do think that that's something I've seen a lot of other writers have, especially those who have like one specific writing location, that you gotta have it exactly how you want it. Not always clean, but just like sometimes you're wonderfully disorganized mess. Miriam O says, if I need more connection with the characters, I pretend to be them sometimes. It gets overwhelming. What is the fine line between pretending to be them and trying to put yourself in their shoes to channel them? Is it the same thing? Because I feel you on this, especially if I'm trying to get specific dialogue correct, like I want it to sound like them, I'll kind of like walk around and attempt to get it, to capture it. Maybe I do this too. And then Alex Writes and Sings says, I switch on the music and become the character. Eat, read, game, repeat says, I do power poses so I feel more confident in my writing. I like that. Maybe I need to get like a mantra. Lots of jokes about not writing is the writing habit. Golden in Raven says, burning candles that match the mood of the scene. I do not own enough candles to do this. How many candles do y'all own? How many moods? Can y'all adequately tell me what the right mood for the candle is? Is this something that everyone knows, and as someone who like doesn't use candles that often, I just don't have this knowledge? Teach me your ways, candle lovers. Okay. Nevaeh the Writer 1 says, having a Marvel movie playing on another device while I'm working. Why Marvel specifically? I did see some people who have authortube videos playing in the background, but the Marvel one gets me. Are you writing a superhero one? Do you just love the way they brought the characters to the screen? I have questions. KSE99 says, sometimes between sprints I stand up and do squats because my knees are in pain. I should do something like that. It's not my knees, it's my back, but like I've been trying to get more into the walking. Fave Elise says, I have to wear heavy sweaters even in the dead of summer. I mean, as long as you're not writing outside, the sweater should work, right? Is it also to get you in like the writing mood? I feel like there's some amount of aesthetic choices that we're used to seeing writers on screen do, and then sometimes it's nice to replicate that and just pretend that you're like a professional writer that would be in a movie. But also heavy sweaters are just cozy, so like maybe that's it. Okay, acting out a scene. Yes, playing both characters before I write it. There are so many of us. I now see that this is not abnormal. Oh, okay. So some people use writing sprints when they need them, just like to get inspired to go quickly, but don't always. Fab Wolf Gets Shit Done says, I'm basically incapable of writing without a timer going. If I'm not racing against the clock, I can't write. Eli says, I can't write if I don't have my rings on my fingers. I just can't. Oh, as someone who doesn't wear jewelry, I cannot relate to this. But is it just like, cause you're looking down and you see your fingers and like it bothers you? Or is it like is it kind of similar to the nail polish thing? Where it's like, there's some amount of energy channeling here? I don't know. Catherine Greenwood, I have to have at least 4 different drinks with me at all times or I get stressed. I too am a mood drinker, so I like to have options all within my reach. Though I've gotten to the point that now that actually is a trigger to go and stand up and get the drink that I want, and that thus helps with the knee, back, hip, whatever pain. Speaking of, I should take a sip. Okay, this is a very specific one. V Masternack says, I have to go outside and turn on my flamingo lights at least once, even in the daytime. I think that's so interesting that that's paired with writing. Can you see your flamingo lights from where you write? Also, where did you get flamingo lights? Acting out scenes by myself to see if they feel realistic. McKenna, yes, there are so many of us. Okay, now I need to like take a poll and just see how many people stand up and act out their scenes. Comment down below. Let me know if you do this. Ibrahim Brainman says, I wash my hands, feet, and face. Sit for 10 minutes looking at the wall and then start writing really. I kind of like that one. I kind of might try that one. I think I'm gonna try that one. Oh, Raven Reads and Writes, on October 31st, I go and buy a single orange. Can't start a new NaNoWriMo project without it. This, for those of y'all who watch Psych, reminds me of the pineapple thing that would just randomly show up, so that feels very similar. I actually don't like oranges, so I would not do this one, but I kind of like it. Maybe I could stuff it in for my own favorite fruit. Give me some strawberries. Little Ginger 831, needing to have 2 different places to write in at the same time. As y'all have seen in all of the various vlogs, I like to have desk 1, desk 2, a place to sit, to like fully recline, something outside. Yes. Okay, another person who needs to be competitive with their word count. I kind of like that. I think a lot of things are shifting that way, even with like gamification elements. So is it because we all grew up playing video games? Or do we just like a challenge? Is that it? Julian Tries to Write says, I don't know how to pronounce this, Ishung stones that I rub in my hands before starting, reminding myself why I write. I'm gonna have to look up what that is. Some of these kind of ritualistic things I do enjoy because it's kind of, if you're only doing it before the writing, theoretically, like it just prompts you to get into that zone, especially these ones that involve small items. Theoretically, you'd be able to take them anywhere and thus your writing is not tied to one location. Although right now in 2020, it's not like that really matters, but like you get my drift. Oh. Yep, that's me. Says, sometimes I dress up as my characters. It helps me embody them. That whole booktube trend of dressing up as characters or book covers, totally just bring to authortube, bring to writing. I want to see everyone dress up as their characters. AP Harris Writing says, showering every time I get stuck. I would be showering way too often. Kamaboo says, I always make the font Garamond before I start writing. I don't think I have a specific font. Like I just kind of stick with almost whatever. If I'm writing in Google Docs, I stick with the typical like Arial, or it's Times New Roman, I don't know, I don't switch it. And then same with whatever, I think Palatino is the one that my Scrivener Docs is automatically set to, so I just use that. I know some people have done the Comic Sans hack, but do some people have a very specific font they love? I wonder if anyone changes the font depending on what scene they're writing, or what the mood of the scene is, because now I'm really getting into tying something to moods. Huh, this is genius. This is another one I'm gonna have to try. Wannabe Artist 2004 says, I write a short diary entry before starting. That way I personally feel as if other thoughts are ended. So you're not bringing any of your own like emotions of the specific day to the scene. I kind of like that a lot. And it would get me to actually journal on a regular basis, which I also want. Author London Cross says, Twizzlers and lots of coffee. Twizzlers are an underrated candy. I said what I said. I also like candy corn though, so like, can you trust me? No. That Book Aesthetic says, if the scene is at night, I must turn the lights off. That's fascinating. I'd love to see if you've ever written like a vampire novel or anything that would take place predominantly at night, and if you're just constantly writing with the lights off. Can you write during the day if the lights are off, like with the daylight coming in, or would you have to close the blinds or something? Camp Rock Birdhouse says, I must type wearing finger gloves. I knitted. If I could knit, I would also wear whatever I knit all the time. In a similar vein, Eerie WP says, I have to sit in front of a fan while writing action scenes. It really gets me going. Is it because like theoretically in the action scene, everything would be moving so fast so that your hair is just like, I also love that. These are very specific, which is wonderful and exactly what I wanted. But all right, please do comment down below if you did not tell me what your weirdest writing habit is. I would love to hear about it. If any of these made sense to you or you also do them, particularly the ones with like the candles or the fans blowing air on your face or anything like that, I just want to know how much of it is tied to a specific kind of scene that you're writing, because I think that's really interesting and not at all how I write. And so I'm just fascinated, like maybe it would help me. It would get me in the zone better. I don't know. But thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you especially to some of my new patrons this month. Emily, Claire Johnston, Jessica, Laura K, Brianna, Kate Green, Sonia Ortiz, Barbara, Avia Brown, Finn, Kirsten Lund, and Deb Osorio, and I will see you all very soon with a new video. Potentially one where I try out some of these. Bye! I got to find my Patreon. E-read. Especially these ones that involve like the stones or the polish or anything like that. Not the polish.